Thanks for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. I hope everyone is doing well under the quarantine and with the COVID-19. Please remember to stay inside unless absolutely necessary. And please remember to stay safe and stay healthy. Now, on that note, we're going to be talking about If These Wings Could Fly by Kyrie McCauley. It is a young adult contemporary story, but it's also infused with magical realism, and it tells a story about a girl who is surviving domestic violence. Honestly, this was a breathtaking novel. I don't really read contemporary as much as I would like to, I don't think, unless it's like a contemporary retelling of a classic that, I'm really fond of. But something about this, maybe it was the cover, maybe it was a synopsis, I'm not quite sure, but something drew me to this novel, and I honestly loved it. Can't get over how much I loved it. Sorry, you have to forgive me, I'm eating my lunch. But what I loved about it were so many things. First, let's begin with Leighton. Her characterization. It was very well thought out. From the beginning of the story, the reader is thrust into, she wakes up in fear, she wakes up in terror. Her father is, threatening her mother once again. They're arguing, things get heated. He's a character that is fueled by anger and resentment, and the mom is she's in love with him, and I think it's very realistic how she is in love with him, but we'll get into that a little more later. But when it comes to Leighton, her sisters wake her up, they're scared. Leighton runs next door to the neighbor. She literally sneaks out of her own house to run next door to the neighbor. But the neighbor doesn't do anything. The neighbor doesn't even open the door, turns on the light, turns off the light, and ignores it. And that's another thing that's very powerful about this novel, that Leighton has to come to grips with the society that she is surrounded in. Because she lives in a small town. She wants to get out. She wants to go to college, in New York. And she has the ability to get there. She works so hard to just stay focused on school, because scholarships, it's the only way she's going to be able to afford school, and it crushes her because she doesn't know she's going to be able to succeed, to escape, to go after her dreams. But another thing that also crushes her is the fact that she's going to be leaving her mother and her two younger sisters alone with her father, and she doesn't want to do that. She is kind of like the glue, and it wears on her. It reflects her character because she's so strong, but she's so closed off from the rest of the world, from happiness. She doesn't want to allow herself to feel happiness. In a sense, it takes a long time for her to really open up. And what I loved about it was how realistic that was. The dynamics of this family, they were very realistic. There are so many women out there in the world who, love is blind. It really is. And there are a lot of women who recognize violence as love, because it's something they probably grew up with, or they have, so it's how they recognize love. And for Leighton's mom, I think that's it. She is so in love with this man, she's stuck in the past of who he once was before he got stuck in this town, before his dreams crashed, before all the resentment and anger built up and just started to crush his heart and make him this very angry person. but she always takes him back. And I think that's really, it is realistic, because there are so many women who they accept the apology of, oh, it's never going to happen again. And I like the fact that this novel touches upon that, because I think she's forgetting that, yes, she takes the brunt of it to protect her kids, but what if one day it escalates to the point where she's not going to be able to protect her kids? And I think she needs to recognize that, as much as Leighton recognizes it. Leighton is aware. There's this gun that they keep on the fridge for defensive purposes, and whenever her father gets angry, she's always so scared. It's the one thing she looks to make sure it's still there, to make sure he doesn't have it. It's the one thing she recognizes. Leighton is aware. She is strong and capable, and through her friendship, she also is able to talk about it. She's letting go of the walls around her, which leads to some really good character development, because yes, from the get-go we see that she's a very strong character, but she's also strong in the sense that she's compelled by fear and anger. And when she starts to open up and let things go, she sees that eventually, she doesn't want to be like her father, and she doesn't want to be like her mother. She wants to be better than both. And her relationship with her mother is obviously strained. And her relationship with her sisters, who are aware that she's leaving for college, it's starting to become strained as well. So these dynamics, they shift, they change, but they also grow. And through the growth of the novel, through Leighton's action, she's able to bring her sisters together. She's able to sort of wake her mother up. Like the rose-colored glasses her mother's always wearing, it's like they're cracking until they finally break. And the moment they break, it's such a yes, finally moment that I think all readers can relate to. Yes, it takes her a while, but you don't hate her. You pity her, and you just want her to wake up, because it's a very realistic thing, and it costs so many women in this world, their lives. They're stuck behind those rose-colored glasses. They don't break until it's too late sometimes, and I think that's very sad, and I think it's very important that McCauley was able to touch upon that. What I also thought was very impactful about this novel is the fact that the town, they don't really, it's like they see it, but they don't see it. They're sort of not blind or oblivious, but they choose to ignore it. And I think that's really sad, They are bystanders. But the moment that, Leighton exposes the truth to everyone, they stop being passive. They stop making excuses for her father. They stop seeing him as just a man struggling and venting out his frustrations. And they really start to see, this isn't okay how he's treating them. They finally see it. And for Leighton to use her words, because she uses her words to open everyone's minds and their eyes, it's such a great moment, because you're finally realizing, yay, they're waking up. They're no longer stuck in this small little mind frame, They open their eyes, because being silent makes you culpable. Something happens and you are sort of aware on it on any level, and this town clearly is aware of it on some level. It makes them culpable if anything bad happens, and they're realizing this. They're saying, okay, no, not okay. And McCauley's persuasive writing, Macaulay's persuasive writing allows the reader to be drawn into the story. Now, the magical realism comes from, the crows. Crows are invading this small little town, and they interact with Leighton and her sisters on a very highly intelligent level. I mean, like, crows are in general very intelligent creatures, but the way that they're interacting with the girls, they're sort of like protecting the girls. They are a way for the girls to sort of escape, because, I mean, just look at the title, If These Wings Could Fly. The crows literally give Leighton her strength. They give her wings to spread out, and they also give her sisters wings. Not literally, of course, but figuratively. They all become stronger, more aware of how they're sort of caged into their house. And I thought it was a very impactful how McCauley was able to just incorporate these birds and give them this magical guardianship over these girls. And it was unexpected, to be quite honest. It was not something I was expecting to read, but I loved it because it sort of sneaks up on you, the magical realism. It sneaks up on you with every interaction Leighton and her sisters have with the crows, and I think that's really good. When magical realism just sort of sneaks up on you and just sort of grips you and captivates you. And McCauley is able to do that with such a talent, with her detail, with her scene structure, with her evolution of the plot and the story. I mean, it's all very great, and I think this is a novel that should be read. I really want to give it 4.5 stars, but there's no Unicode for a half star on Word, so I only give it 4 stars. And the reason is because while I thought the beautiful writing was there, and while I think the story is completely enthralling and compelling, there were some scenes I dragged out just a little bit. Not a lot, but just enough for me to be like, I want to go to the next scene already. I'm not sure how important this is to the story. Just whenever those thoughts enter my head, when I'm reading a scene, it sort of takes me out of the story just a little bit. But once I'm in the story, I'm in the story. And this is one of those stories that, for the most part, did captivate me. I mean, those scenes that I thought, those things, they were very few and they were very far apart. But the fact is, they did exist, which is why I gave the story 4 stars. I really want to give it 4.5, so I'll say that here. I do give it 4.5 stars, but on Goodreads you can only give a book like solid stars, not half stars. So on that note, I really do think this is a book that you should read. Anyone should read. I really do agree that it should be part of a discussion for a book club. And honestly, even if you don't want to discuss some of the tough subjects in the book, like domestic violence and physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, I would say just read it for the beautiful writing, the way the girls grow, the way the crows interact with the crows. It's all really, it's beautiful, all the interactions and the lyrical writing. Well, it's not lyrical, but there are times where it seems like it's lyrical because of just how fluid it is and how beautiful the pacing is. So once again, If These Wings Could Fly, by Kyrie McCauley, published by HarperCollins Deegan. please go ahead and pick this novel up. Please remember to support your local bookseller, especially during the coronavirus. I don't know about you, but I don't want to see bookstores start closing down. So please remember to support your local bookstore as much as possible during these trying times, and please pick up this novel. If if you're like me, money's tight right now, I would say rent it from your local library. I know a lot of libraries across the country have a surplus of ebooks, so please pick this novel up. I thoroughly recommend it, and I have to give a round of applause to Kyrie McCauley for bringing up such a tough subject and presenting it to readers in a beautiful and thoughtful way. Thank you. Remember, stay safe and have a happy day.